to Binge Buddies. With me, your host, is always Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Joel Dracula DeWitte.
I'm a little humbled, and I want to thank the Academy for this award, especially my agent and my wife who stuck with me through all these years, and of course God, or maybe this time it's Satan, you know.
Yeah, thanking God.
It wouldn't be God if he's Dracula. Wait, have you just breathed fire, Joel?
God is somewhere going, the fuck did I do?
Well, I did not breathe fire.
Oh, that was great. We have Matt, Zombie Dog, Lestat de Lioncourt, Dykes.
That's a mouthful. And I was wondering, will you remember the zombie dog part of it? It's been a while. Let's find out.
There's your answer. I remembered.
Good to know.
Yeah.
My official nickname.
Oh yeah, your Zombie Dog Lestat de Lioncourt official nickname.
Sure.
Is the Lestat de Lioncourt better pronounced with absolutely no French in it whatsoever and just purely American?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
100%. There's no way that will offend anyone or piss anybody off at all. Yeah. No, you're doing a great job.
De Lioncourt. Perfect, right? That's what I was going for. We also have Mr. Drew Eli Staton.
Eli.
Let the right one in.
Oh God, that's a deep cut.
I was trying to go for more famous vampires this time, but I realized this one was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Thanks. I mean, I wasn't here for a couple episodes, so I deserve it.
I meant more so like you might not recognize this one. Not that I'm trying to be rude with my vampire pick, but if you want to take it that way, that's cool too.
No, it's fine. That's a deep cut. God, I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
But it's really
so
good movie. I even like the Matt Reeves one. Like that's not even a bad movie.
I haven't seen the Americanized one.
It actually follows the book a little bit more than the Swedish one, which is strange because Swedish film, Swedish book, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Matt Reeves. He's a good director. I'd check it out if you haven't.
I will have to, especially now. It's in my name.
It's your official nickname. How would you have not seen it? So we're back after our impromptu break. I thank everyone for their patience. I know we are gone a little bit longer than any of us really thought we would be, but that's all done now. So hooray, we're back at it, just in time for the season 1 finale. The timing of that break was perfect.
Nothing like a break just before the end.
Yeah, and next week will be the end, and we'll see you in a month.
This is gonna be like those. Cartoon Network back when they did more anime, when they did like the Dragon Ball Z arcs, and then they would have like new stuff coming out, but they wouldn't announce it, so they just keep doing the Namek saga over and over again.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. So season 1 finale, directed by Taika Waititi, is called Ancestry. This is an episode that I thought was both kind of fine and pretty funny, but it's definitely not my favorite of the season. Where are we guys sitting on it?
I'd agree with that. I mean, it's got some great conclusions, and it opens up new avenues that it makes you really excited to start season 2, which, full disclosure, I've ran through this fucking show by now. I couldn't help myself. But, it's such good setups for what's to come. And such great through lines, because you find answers to questions where it's like, oh my God, they put a clue in this 5 episodes ago. Really, really good stuff. But I agree, like the actual chain of events that kind of happens is not quite as interesting as the inflection points there.
Yeah, I'll get to my guessing why later, but Drew, Matt, what did you guys think of this one?
I enjoyed it, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Like the whole series has been brilliant, and it's got one of the funniest sort of like shock gags. I think just when he drives off on the motorbike, he's just so good. I mean, it's like that something's gonna happen, And then it's just like, I see what's going on with this, but it's still hilarious.
Oh, it's still good.
Yeah. But like I think, like you said, it's kind of like it's a good episode, but I think it's more. I don't know. It feels a bit more disjointed than the rest. It's good moments, but as a whole, it's just a bit disjointed. Really.
Yeah. Last but not least, Drew, what do you think?
I kind of have to agree. Like the episode itself is pretty good, but it's certainly not the best. And it's in terms of like a finale, it's a little too on the nose of like tying a ribbon on it and being done without actually like feeling like a finale. It's more of a setup for season 2, which I guess, a season ender is like, it can be that, and it can only be that and still be good. Like it can still do its job, especially if you're greenlit for the next season. But like, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like there was, it didn't feel like an end of a season, if that makes sense. There wasn't anything that really went zow.
It sort of builds up towards season 2, but it doesn't do it in a really sort of like, oh my god, I need to see it right now kind of way. Like how like you get some things that are building towards what's coming in season 2, and then it's ending on this thing of like you have to come back. It's kind of, I don't know, it kind of. I wouldn't say a whimper, but it doesn't really sort of end with like a big sort of oh my god.
It's not really a wing like a wang a wham bam episode. Like I will say, like, the best part of this episode, well, it's not my favorite moment, but like the best part of this episode is you find out that Laszlo has been the one killing Jeff the entire time.
Oh yeah. There's some absolutely brilliant stuff in this, and we'll spend some good quality time on that here in a little bit. But here's my reasoning, and I want to get you guys' meter on this, see if you agree or not. What I think this episode is straddling a fence. Like, and I've done zero research, and I realize that info's probably out there, but this feels like, all right, so we don't know if we're picked up for a season 2, but we really want to be, but we also want to wrap it up. So we're just going to do both. And that's kind of how you get that disjointed feeling of like, we're going to end the episode, we're going to end the series. Like, if we never get another episode, this will be satisfying enough. And if we do get another episode, we have plenty of things to jump off of. So instead of trying to do one or the other, they just went for down the
I think I agree with you. Like the Guillermo arc is sort of the bridge to like, oh, if we have another season, this is where we're headed towards, right? And I feel like the rest of the cast, it is sort of like we're going to have a safe arc where it can stand on its own and doesn't need to have a lead in to the next season. And I think I don't want to call it a problem, but the pacing issue to me is like the big thing that should have been the big reveal for the end of the episode happens partway through. Yeah, that's the problem to me, is that like it is such a big reveal and such a funny twist that, and I guess I don't know if I should jump straight to it, but it is revealed through this, because they all drew it through an Ancestry.com kind of thing, and it's revealed through it that Guillermo is an ancestor of Van Helsing. And so like it makes it such a crazy thing for him being a familiar of vampires, but then also being a vampire hunter descendant. and that, to me, that would have been the perfect like cut to the end moment. Like if we're talking about the right kind of pacing.
Yeah, like that whole. Wait, I mean that's really funny because I'm not sure you know about vampires, but Van Helsing is he's not real, right? Because vampires are real, so he's not real, right? Like, it's just like, if that's how it had ended, like right there, that would have been an amazing, just sort of like boom end. But I think it comes back to that whole trying to straddle, is this a series finale or a season finale? That it's like, well, if we put it at the end, then it's definitely a season finale and not a series finale. But if we leave it in the middle somewhere, it can still kind of go both ways.
Yeah, it's sort of like weird, because that would have been the perfect sort of cliffhanger ending, and that would have, like, you would have been like, oh, I need to see the next episode to see what happens with this, and it kind of like happens in the middle way through, and they don't really do anything with it after he finds out either, really. No. You've got the bit at the end, which is kind of like a tacked on extra version of it, what we had earlier on, kind of, really, with the stakes and everything. But yeah,
the stakes are so good.
It is good, but it's kind of like that scene earlier on being the last scene would have worked so much better.
Yeah. But again, like, I don't have a problem with it. Like, I can say it's not my favorite episode or it's not the strongest because of this, that, and the other. But at the same time, like, I can see why they did it, or at least why I think that they did it. So it doesn't really bother me. Like, it feels motivated as far as, like, a storytelling device.
Yeah, I feel like you know, I do feel like I'm shitting on it a bit too much.
Well, I mean,
well, it's just like whenever we had a bad episode of Venture Brothers, which was like all of 2 in the entire series. We beat the shit out of them because every other episode we have nothing but praise. So when we finally have something negative to say, it's like, all right, well, we're going to pile the fuck on here.
And with how good this whole series is, like, sometimes it is more interesting to discuss, like, the shortcomings of an episode, because it is it's a unique thing to talk about with such a well-developed series that has very few low points.
Yeah, and like, I think that's entirely what's happening here, because as we've said, like, we get through the whole. Let's just talk a little bit, just kind of jumping around. I know we like to go through beginning to end, but this episode just doesn't really work for that because we all kind of agree the pacing was the problem. But like, we get that whole reveal of fucking Jeff, like, who was Jeff, and like, we not only like we get the whole. Fucking Nadja just missing him and singing the song, so he just gets his uber Gregor strength back and breaks out of his mental institution and goes running to Nadja. Like, all of that on its own is already hilarious. That she's just accidentally summoning him. Like, that's already fantastic. But then on top of that, when like you have Laszlo come out like, "Who's this, my darling? A gentleman caller?" Like, and he just knows exactly what's going on throughout the whole thing.
He looks so happy as well. It's like, we're here again, are we?
And then when you start going through all the times that he killed him, like we can do this all night, darling.
Yeah.
When I was a rat, I was a cat. And they go back to the fucking artwork that's been so good throughout, and not just like the little zoom out. And every time they zoom out to where Jeff had been dying, you can see a clearly depicted Laszlo.
I wrote every single one of them down as well. It's like, when I was a street thief, I had the cleaver in my hand. When I was a naval officer, I was on board the ship with the cutlass. When I was atop the horse in that battlefield, that was me. The Amazon explorer, guess who tipped off the natives? When I was a mouse, I was a cat. When I was a washwoman, we could do this all night. It's so good, like, just like, and just it's sort of like, it's one of those really great things with the building of the joke, and it just keeps hitting every single point perfectly. You know, they got the right balance of that. If you'd have gone too long with that, it would have become less funny. But if you don't do it long enough, it's not as funny. And I think they got the balance right with how many times they could keep jumping back to the artwork, and it still be really funny.
And then,
you know. That when I was a mouse, I was a cat. Seems like the end of it, but they have like that little extra on, which just adds that actually, like, you know, it's perfectly to the end.
But then, like, the fact that like all of that is just like you're doubled over laughing in your living room, like, this is the funniest shit ever. Then the scene kind of dies down with the like, that let him have his one full life, darling. Is this what you want? Oh, okay. I'll see you in the next life. Yeah, or maybe you fucking won't. Or maybe you will. And that's great. And then, like, okay, so this scene was perfect. I loved it. And then the motorcycle thing happens. Like, it just doesn't let you go. Like, it's just like, it's hysterical. It's like a little bit of breathing, hysterical, a little bit of breathing. And then just the icing on the cake, he gets his head lopped off.
It is that abruptness of how it happens. And this show uses that hook so often, where like it is just the totally unexpected, a truck comes over and hits you kind of moment, and it does not stop getting funny. Because like, if you pace these and don't watch them one after another, you don't think about it again until it happens again. The whole like cycle of Laszlo and him endlessly going through this battle itself is kind of a funny premise as well. Like that's part of what works so well, is that it being kind of this endless struggle, like Link and Zelda and Ganon going through lifetimes against each other.
And for me, the best thing about this whole sequence is not that Laszlo is killing Gregor or Jeff, whatever we're calling him, because he's jealous of him banging his wife. It's because whenever he shows up, his wife gets emotional and starts crying, and he's not having that.
And I'm not having any of that jive.
Yeah, nothing to do with the infidelity. Who gives a shit? It's just that she gets upset when he's here. And that's
it's
not
that little
okay.
glimmer of like sweetness that Laszlo has because
Yeah.
his lifelong love of Nadja, and it kind of goes back to that whole thing in the orgy where like he's talking like, professing his love and
A
yes,
two-person orgy.
Oh, her reaction is brilliant as well, though. When he explains the reason why, and she's just like, "Oh, that's so sweet," and then it's like, "Yeah, go away, Jeff," and then he's just like, "Oh, that's fucking weird," and then he just drives off. And I love that the immediate thing, like where he cuts his own head off at this point. This was probably the first time in the whole of this sequence that it's actually not been Laszlo.
Yeah.
But she still blames Laszlo for it because he had the wire set up for her present, but it's actually not his fault.
Yeah, for the first time, he didn't actually do it, but, I still just love, like, he gets decapitated, he's lying on the ground dead, and Laszlo's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, darling, I'll give you a moment with whatever this is."
And you just see him in the back just throw a tarp over the headless corpse as she's got the head in the helmet.
Okay, I want to ask a question here. Anybody else happy he died? I like
Oh, yeah.
he is great to be a part of like moments with Nadja that become funny. I never found his character that interesting. Like he is there for the joke. Like he doesn't have much use beyond that.
Yeah, so I'm totally fine with him going. And they did it the best possible way. From the setup in the very first pilot of he's going to get his head cut off. Like, that's the very first episode they make that joke, to the very last episode of the season where it happens.
When the window slams shut.
Yep.
God.
And then when the next time you see him as well, there's the little barrier thing going
the
down.
arm in the parking garage almost takes
Yep.
his head off. It's his lot in life.
I think that's the thing, though. It's like they used it as much as would have worked. They didn't overuse it. They didn't underuse it. Like, the character was used. Like, the character wasn't in every episode, but the times that they sort of like brought him back in, it worked so well because they used that character quite sparingly. And then, of course, it's all set up for this end of the season joke of, oh, he's got his head off again.
Yeah, it's just like, it's one of those moments where, I know you guys weren't watching it, or Drew might have been, but like I was watching this show when it aired, like as it came out. I was right on this one, and you're watching this episode, and the show didn't have that big of a fanfare in the first season. Like, it's gotten bigger every year, which is great for the show. But when you're watching this first season and you have an episode like this with this joke that's been set up 10 episodes before, and it's just so brilliantly well written, you just have this moment like, am I taking crazy pills? Why is this not the most popular show on TV? Like, this is so well done. It's insane.
It really is. Like, it's the just. I've been saying this the whole time. Like, the attention to detail and just like the subtle laying out of jokes and like bits to come back to. Like, oh wait, that was fucking 4 episodes ago. Like, the planning is top notch.
Oh yeah.
I think that's kind of the case with a lot of really good shows that are really well written. Though they just don't get that audience. Like the amount of people that I've talked to about Venture Brothers, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's like sort of same thing.
Oh, that hurts me.
I know, hurts me too. I'm like, not sure we can be friends until you watch the Venture Brothers.
I think.
That's a fair stipulation.
No, that's fine.
Sorry, Joel. I'm saying sorry because I know you haven't watched all the Venture Brothers.
Well, yeah, we're not friends yet, Joel. You finished your Venture Brothers.
See, this isn't my problem, but I think a lot of people make animated adult shows kind of a barrier to entry for themselves. Yeah.
They do.
And
They
they're sort of
totally
dismissed
do. Yep.
as kind of juvenile stuff where really, like, yes, a lot of it's juvenile, but there's also a bit of, like, depth and interesting characters and a lot of really good humor. And it's unfortunate. Not related to What We Do in the Shadows whatsoever, but
No. No, this show is not animated. Big shocker in the season finale.
Wait, this isn't animated.
I know. I didn't mean to ruin it for everybody, but it's not animated. I'm sorry.
Shit, what have I been watching then? I'm sure the thing I've been watching was animated.
It's very lucky that all of our notes have still worked.
I know.
We're watching two different things. Astounding.
I mean, I've been watching two different shows, a different show to you, and they still have characters called Nandor, Nadja, and Laszlo in.
And Colin Robinson. Don't forget about poor Colin Robinson.
Colin Robinson as well.
Which, jumping back to this episode, now that it's mentioned Colin Robinson, holy shit! When they bring out the Ancestry results, and like,
I'm looking at the quote in my notes right now. It's so
Says I'm
fucking
100%
brilliant.
white.
yeah.
It says here, I am 100% white.
And just like that, no, people are a mix of thousands of generations of like different areas, and oh wow, no, it just says 100% white.
this is a through line across the entire series so far. But like, his character ends up being absurd in the most mundane ways. Like, he has these crazy cast of characters, and then just like his insane crazy moment is, I'm 100% white, and it totally tracks with his character entirely.
I mean, it's the classic straight man, but like, it's not a classic straight man because he's still a fucking vampire. He's just like the most boring thing ever. So everything else that bounces off of him is zany.
It's not like the Arrested Development thing. Michael is the straight man, but he's still kind of an asshole like the rest of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you guys? So I'm just going to mention the actor who plays Colin Robinson has apparently been courting Bob Newhart to come on the show at some point while he's still alive. He really wants Bob Newhart to come on as the king of the energy vampires.
Oh, that'd be really good.
Oh my damn it!
Don't dangle that
good.
in front of me.
Right? And like as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh man, that would just be amazing.
Wow. That would be pretty cool.
But, we'll see. What have we missed in this episode? Is there anything that we really need to talk about, or should we start moving to the end of this?
The funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're all just sort of sitting there, blood dribbling from their eyes. Just in absolute pain as well. It's like,
I didn't mention the funeral, and my quote from the episode comes from the funeral. Like, I forgot to even mention it. The funeral we didn't mention. So Nandor finds out that he has like something like 200,000 living descendants, like a crazy amount. Not as many.
As many as
yeah, Colin Roberts is like, please don't ruin this kind of. I would never think of doing that. Genghis Khan has
16 million descendants.
Even later, like in his little interview thing, so Nandor has a bunch of descendants, though it's clearly not as many as Genghis Khan. So we're gonna go. He just can't help himself.
And there's that. This isn't working. Me being supportive, I feel like I'm literally eating myself.
Yeah. God.
But so they go to visit his ancestor, which is a 94-year-old woman that Nandor then scares to death by tapping on her window. Like a 6-story building. Mm-hmm. So then they have to go to her funeral, of course, which is in a church that vampires can't go in. And just that, they have the whole argument outside the church. They agree to go in, and this is the smash cut to all three of them sitting there smoking, bleeding from their eyes. And I just love, like, even Nadia's line of, like, I'm sorry, Nandor, my mascara's running because of the blood.
And then Guillermo, he pours water on Nandor to try to put him out, but it's holy water, right? So it just it inflames him even worse. We made a very quick passing thing on Guillermo, just talking about like where his art should have been, but like there's a lot of good moments. Just little like passive things, right? They go back to the trial, and he flashbacks to like when he impaled a vampire on the wall there, mm-hmm. and that. What we just talked about with the holy water. And then at the end, like, he ends up, like, throwing those stakes through the portraits of all of them accidentally. Like, he is, like, a character who has just figured out a superpower, but is, like, deathly afraid of using it. So, like, it just inadvertently pops out everywhere.
He's like Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter reference? That's
What's
what
Harry
everybody's here
Potter?
For? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Isn't that character in Troll 2?
They're eating her. They're gonna eat me. Oh my
God! I finally watched that movie
So
for the first
fucking
time like
bad.
3 months ago. It turns out it's not very good. I don't see why everybody loves it so much. It's a bad movie.
So fucking horrible. Nilbog.
All right. Is there anything else? Do we kind of hit
I
it
feel
all?
like this is a really brisk
I think so.
conversation.
Yeah, I do too. But I also feel like we
Yeah.
kind of hit everything.
Yeah.
It's
like we said at the opening, that there's not a whole lot in the episode though. It's kind of like it's two smaller storylines kind of like put together, because you've got like the wrapping up of Jeff and then Nandor's ancestry thing. So like, you know, the A and B plots are not really related, that sort of interlink. So they're just kind of like stuck together, because it's kind of like Nandor's ends and then the Jeff storyline kind of starts. There's a little bit of overlap in between, but for the most part, it's kind of like, okay, that's that part of it ends, and now this part of the episode starts.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it just does a lot of like heavy lifting as far as like, we're going to kind of put a bow on this and kind of move forward, and that's about it. So like, it doesn't really, there's not that much to talk about beyond, I think, what we hit. So I actually think, sorry, Joel, I think we did a good job.
I was not talking about quality.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement. Like, we usually have a lot to talk about these episodes, and that's part of the fun of this. And yeah, even last week, like 2 weeks ago's episode, like even if I didn't love that episode, there's still plenty to talk about. So it's just surprising to me.
I mean, I'm still surprised you didn't love last week's episode.
I refuse to name it.
It's 2 years
I
now,
refuse to
isn't it?
name it. My kids are in the other room. I don't need to introduce that into their life.
What, you mean orgy?
Yeah, you can say all you want.
Orgy.
It's just going into my ear right now. Oh, wow.
Orgy.
Wow, that peaked.
I moved a little bit closer to the microphone for that.
It also sounded like you're doing like that Frank Reynolds trying to get into the orgy with the password orgy.
The best thing about that is now my neighbours have just heard me yell orgy about 4 or 5 times, and they'll have no fucking idea why.
It's better out of the door.
Pretty sure he lives alone. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
What kind of orgy is he having on his own? It's a very
You know
sad
what, just-
orgy.
Just turn up the TV. we don't need.
Put some porn on, turn it up. Yeah.
We'll win this fight. Anyhow, all right. Let's move on to favorite moments and/or quotes of this episode. I can go first because I'm already kind of hinting at mine, and it comes from the funeral when they're when Laszlo has bailed on the church. He's done with it. He's out, and then Nadia has to leave, and she's doing her best to be supportive, which is saying a lot for Nadia because that's not really her bread and butter. But she stands up to leave. She's like, "I'm sorry, I would stay, but I'm on fire." And she just raises her hands, and her hands are on fire randomly. It just caught me so off guard.
And then you got Nandor following that up with "Thank you for coming, Nadia." And then Colin Robinson just puts a bow on the end of it with, "Hey, I'm gonna go too. I'd rather watch TV."
So good.
Oh God.
Matt, you want to go?
So I think mine is probably the we've already kind of covered it, and it's just Colin Robinson going. It says, I am 100% white." It's just the way he says it. It's so deadpan, and then they're like, "Oh no, like, you're a mixture of like, oh wow, oh." That very I can't remember what he says after that, but it's just, yeah. and it fits the character, I think, as well.
Oh yeah. Joel,
So
what about
I think I've come to understand why I like Colin Robinson so much, and I think 1, he's an office drone. 2, he is able to talk about really mundane things for such a long time that people fall asleep. And 3, he's 100% white, so he's kind of like me a little bit, and I can relate to it a bit. It really is. Matt took mine. It's the 100% white. It's just like it fits his character so well, but it's also kind of a crazy thing. If I didn't go with that, it would have to be just Guillermo. Just Guillermo this episode. Every little thing he does where he's inadvertently killing some form of vampire or doing threatening actions is just chef's kiss, and it sets up. It's going to set up such great things moving forward too. Like this becomes a roller coaster ride, and it's great.
Drew, last but not least.
Yeah, it's either the moment right before 100% white where both Nadja and Laszlo are both like, get that the fuck away from me. I don't want it. I have no interest in that. No, don't care.
The whole thing with the witches being semen stealers is so good.
Oh my God. Yeah. Which, yep, plays out. But I think it's I think it's the moment when it's like, oh, I'm like 132nd% Dutch or whatever it is. Like Van Helsing. Okay, it's really funny because like Van Helsing's like the most famous vampire killer. It's like he's not real though, right? I think that's great. It's just like because it's like he says that he's like last name is Van Helsing. That's really funny, and it's like wow, that is funny. Wait, we've had a whole season of them setting up jokes by just throwaway lines. And this one, they're holding on. Oh my God, what is happening? Like, again, it is the brilliance of this show. It's like, oh, by the way, here's a little snippet of something that might be important. And now we're just going to lean on it for a second in literal silence so that he has to say, right? Again. Like I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fun." So I was
something funny I ran into because I do some searching on the internet to catch up. His last name is De La Cruz, and it literally means of the cross.
Yeah, of the cross. Guillermo de la Cruz.
It's one of those things where like they put it out there right in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So good. All right.
Man, this show is so good. It's so well written.
I think that means that we finished season 1, doesn't it?
It does.
Holy shit. Holy
It
shit.
does indeed.
So that would mean we only have one last thing to do for season 1, which is to do a season 1 wrap-up, which will be next week's episode. We will do a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be fun. We're going to do like our favorite quotes, rank the episodes, say who the MVP of the season is. We might disagree. So far, I know one person who doesn't agree with me. So I know there's at least one other option out there. But I know throughout the season we've kind of been hinting at who we all think the MVP is. But there's at least one dissenter in the ranks. So that's going to be still going to be interesting, and not just all of us going, yeah, Nadja's the best. Yep. All right. Anyway.
Wait, Nadja. I thought the obvious one was Jeff.
Can I say I love Jeff?
I'd like to find
great.
you a clothesline right now, man.
Jeff.
There's probably one around that I can run into.
It's a run real fucking fast. But yeah, so Joel will unfortunately not be able to join us next week, but I do have his notes, so his opinion will still be heard. Do you guys want to do a really quick round of plugs and say goodbye? I'll take that as a yes. We are back at Behind the Hype. We unfortunately just kind of left Donner Month behind because that same break that happened here happened over there, and it's just easier to move on. And we're moving on to horror film directors B-sides. So that is famous horror directors, not so famous movies. If you are a horror fan, that rule probably will not apply to you because that means you are aware of horror movies. So before you come yelling at me like, hey, everyone's heard of The Serpent and the Rainbow, you have. That does not mean that everyone has. So we are starting with The Serpent and the Rainbow. And then we're moving on to Mimic because no one fucking saw Mimic. But I, including myself, but I really want to see it. It's Guillermo del Toro, and he made a bug monster movie, and that sounds fucking cool. And then I don't know what else we're doing through the rest of that month, but be sure to check it out because it's going to be a ton of fun. I love looking at like the unloved gems of horror directors, or really any directors, but horror directors, it's something special because it's like, hey, what were you trying here? It didn't work, but I like watching you try stuff. But that's Behind the Hype. Demon Days is still going strong right now. I have not been on for a little while, but they will be going up again soon. And then Damage Boost just hit episode 100, so big congratulations to Damage Boost and Brock, who used to help us out all the time with Venture Bros. So that's really cool. Woohoo! Actually, Drew, do you have more to say about Demon Days? Mine was so vague.
No, it's fine. We haven't had a chance to record in a little bit, so but we have it coming up. One of our peeps is deep in the throes of doing another Dykes show, so that's where he's been. So we haven't had a chance to record, but we will soon. But yeah, come check out Demon Days. It's horny tieflings and them trying to find their place in the possible end of the world, and I play a paladin, so it's a lot of fun.
And given that we don't have new episodes coming out, this would be a perfect time to catch up because there is quite a few of them out there. So while things are moving a little bit slower, you can catch up a lot faster, which is great.
Indeed. And then you can find me over at Strength24 on Twitch, streaming possibly much more coming up if this IATSE strike actually goes through. So we'll see how that goes.
Matt, Joel, anything to plug?
I am part of a podcast called Super GG Radio. It's basically a bunch of people who don't have time for games anymore, but still try to find some. So if you're looking for weird or little indie recommendations, that's your home for that. And no, that's about it.
Perfect. Matt, anything to plug?
No.
Perfect. All right. So thank you everyone for listening so much. Sorry again for that uber long break, but we're back at it, and I'm happy to be here. So bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.